Talk about how to maximize billables with strategic account growth. A lot of words. Essentially, let's make a plan to ensure that we get strategic alignment with our client and that they like us. So who am I? I'm Gupta. I'm Director of Account Management at Domaine. I'll tell you a little bit about Domaine in a second. I've been in the digital space for over 16 years on the client side and on the brand side. I think that puts me in a unique spot to tell you a little bit about what clients are actually asking. I can tell you all their secrets. And then I'm also on the other side. I've been in agency for a little bit. I can tell you what the delivery team is asking and what the sales team is asking. You can call me the fixer. I live in the middle. So I work for Domaine. Domaine recently became North America's largest Shopify agency. We were the merger of two really, thank you. I did it all myself, really. It's all about me. I'm kidding. But we were two agencies that were direct competitors that said, hey, let's raise the white flag and become friends. And so now we have 200 employees. We have about 80 brands across, that's not a word. We have 80 brands across North America. And our ICP, we're trying to stick within that mid-market to enterprise area. So we're working hard to be there, but we do dabble a little bit on either end. All right, so what I'd like to do is take you through the process that, I'm gonna trip over here. Take you through the process that our account management team goes through when we bring on a new client or a new retainer. It's mainly going to apply to retainers. We do try some of this with the discovery process, Matt, thank you. But we mainly stick to retainers when we're applying this process. And so the first step, mutual goals. The second step, plan and ideate. The third step, review and repeat. I'm gonna go fast because we don't have much time, but I'm not going to talk too fast. One key thing that I want to point out is no one likes a ticket taker. This whole process is surrounding around you don't want to take tickets from your client. You want to prescribe the work. You want to guide them in the work. So this is what we're trying to do in this. So first one, we're going to establish mutual goals with our client. We're going to create these goals together with the client. I'm going to skip over this. Don't read it. This one's a lot. Don't read it either, but I'm going to tell you what it says. We're going to create mutual goals with our client. So when we're onboarding with the client, we review their website, we review their business, we create insights. We want to tell them that we know about their business. And in that first meeting, we're going to recommend some goals to that client. The goals should be easily measurable, and they should be probably around 2 to 3. We call this one a workshop. We're going to workshop the goals with the client. Sometimes we're so spot on, the client's like, yes, we like those goals. We're going to keep those, and we're going to do this together for the remainder of the project. Sometimes the client wants input. Of the two situations, you want the client that gives you input in the goals. That means they're bought into the situation, they have good ideas about what they want to do, and you're in there together. You're hugging, you're getting the work done. The next thing we do, let's show you what this looks like first. So here are some goals that we've created, some objectives that we've created for a client. This client is, they're making about $200 to $300 million per year. They're in the women's clothing area. And they are curating a whole bunch of brands together. So the goals that they have come up with is they want to work on new customer acquisition, and they're going to measure their new customer acquisition. You can see on the bottom here, bounce rate, conversion rate, revenue per session, year-over-year growth. They want to improve their product finding. We're going to measure that by PDP view. I won't go through all of them, but as you can see, it's a simple goal with some simple measurements. And the last one here is improve product return rate. I think I talked to a few of you about how do we improve product return rate. But they're going to measure that with returns, partial returns, and net UPT. So that's it. We've made 3 goals with our client. We're all bought in. We're going to do this together through the retainer, and we're going to talk about it a lot in the retainer. So the next one is plan and ideate. Plan what you are going to do for your client and plan what you are going to sell that client. The plan, if you have one, makes it into your roadmap. And if you know what you're doing with your plan, it keeps you on track as well as your client on track. So here's the plan. It's ugly. Don't ever show this to your client. Never. This is for you. This is for you and your team. You're going to chat about it with your team, and perhaps if you have, I'm not the CEO of our company, but I'm going to share this with my CEO, and I'm going to let them know what I'm going to sell to my client. So what do I put into this plan? Over here, you'll see that I have sales goals. So you know already what your client's going to spend with you. You know they've said they have a budget, and this is their budget for the year, and that's your retainer budget. However, there are other things that you've discovered through pain points, through their goals that you could probably sell into this client that would make sense to help them grow, and they've missed it when they signed up for the retainer. So create that sales goal. Include your cross-sell and upsell opportunities. So those are the things, your additional lines of service. And many of you have spoken about how you have a full service agency. You have CRM, you have strategy, you have UX. Does that match this client? Put this in your plan. How are you going to sell that to your client? The last one, I think this is the most important, at least from my perspective, because it's the reason why I have a job. But the last one is, what are you going to do from a client management goal perspective? So I like to make sure that each CEO knows our CEO. Do they know who to connect with? Do they know who to reach out to with? They never reach out to this person, but it just makes people feel warm and fuzzy. The other thing that I include in here, so how am I going to introduce them? How does that occur? The other thing I'm going to include in here is what are those key elements that I'm going to plan with the client? So what am I going to present to them? Am I going to present to them in person? Are there different elements that will kind of wow them? Do they have a 10-year anniversary coming up? I need to send them a gift. I'm going to put that in this plan. So it's an all-encompassing plan. It's only internal. Don't show it to the client. However, I'm going to do an ideation and road mapping activity with the client. So we have our 3 goals. We have how we're going to measure these goals. I'm going to ideate with them and come up with some ideas as how we're going to meet those goals together. They always have their own pre-planned roadmap. But I want to come up with a roadmap together. I don't want to take their pre-planned roadmap because I'm a ticket taker. I'm also going to strategically, before the road mapping session begins, I'm going to present to them what I think their roadmap should be. What are the ideas that I think you should have in your roadmap? And my account plan has some of those ideas, and I'm going to strategically put those into that presentation. I'm going to tell them about it. I'm going to set the stage. Once we've done our ideation, I'm going to show you the next screen. We then score each piece of work. So you've heard clients have bright, shiny object syndrome. I know some of you file founders have bright, shiny object syndrome. But we're going to score the ideas that they've come up with. So what will have the best impact on their business? We're here to grow their business. And what will have the least amount of effort? Those are the best ideas, the cheapest, highest impact ideas. Those are all the way over here in the high and the low. And then the ideas, we're going to score them, and the ideas we don't want to include in the roadmap are the ones over here. So this one over here that has a high effort and a low impact, we want to kind of avoid putting those in the roadmap. And we show the client this chart because it gives you a great incentive or a great way to tell them that that's probably not a good, valid idea for you to do. I'm the expert. You know that you've hired me for a reason. Here's how I'm showing you that we don't want to do that. We want to use your dollars efficiently. The next thing we're going to do is create a roadmap. We're going to create it, though, for 12 to 18 months. Sounds like a long time, right? But you want to show that client that you will always have work together. You will always have a roadmap. You will always have a pipeline because it's here. It's on paper. Look at this. Something you'll notice, though, is there's not much over here. There's a lot over there, and there's a lot more detailed work over there. So as you continue through your relationship, you will add more detail to this roadmap. Those things will move over here because clients are clients and priorities change and everything's ever evolving. So you're gonna have your ideas, you're gonna have your roadmap. We're gonna move on to the next step. This is the last step in our process. I hope I'm going at an okay pace, but it's pretty simple. The last step is measure, review, and repeat. Do this over and over and over with your client. This is what we do. We do an account review. You guys have all heard of a QBR. we try to give it a different name because QBR is not fun and kind of, I don't know, boring term. We actually call it a growth panel, growth council. Sounds different, same thing. But we call it a growth council in that we want to involve the client in the review. The first step is we review what we heard. We review those goals. Do they still apply? The second step is we review what we've done. Let's celebrate our success. Let's celebrate our team. Let's celebrate their team. And let's review if we've gotten any closer to those goals. The third step, we set this up from the very beginning. We make recommendations. Because we've set ourselves up as the expert, because we've created goals together, we now have a spot to strategically prescribe more work. We've looked at what you've done for a period of time, and we can now add more things to the roadmap because we've proven we know what we are doing. There's a caveat here. You have clients of differing sizes. So you're not going to always do this all the time. You're going to do this so a client that, say, perhaps has 600 hours per month, huge retainer, you're going to do this a lot because 600 hours per month is a lot of time to fill. You're probably going to visit this on a quarterly basis, but you're going to have internal meetings probably on a monthly basis just to ask your team, how are we tracking back to this goal? How are we, do we have enough stuff in the pipeline? Do we need to revisit the roadmap? If you have a client that is a smaller retainer, let's say 20 hours a month, you're not going to do this on a quarterly basis. That is a waste of your time. That's a waste of your investment. However, you're going to do this like 3 months before renewal because you want to plan to increase that client and eventually get them to that big whale of a client. So you're going to invest and you're going to do that. The other thing is if you have a client who's always just a fixed budget client, you don't need to invest too much time in this. Don't invest your time. Don't spend too much time. Go through it because it's important for them to learn. You're in the expert seat. You're here to educate that client, but you're not going to invest too much time in it. So I've done this speed round. Here's my wrap-up slide. This is the recommended process that I find from a strategic perspective allows you to really put more work into those gaps that you see with that client because you've bought in from the beginning and they see you as like my role is let's have fun, let's make sure the client's happy. If they're happy, they're gonna, and they trust you and they see you as an expert, they're gonna allow you to insert that work. So the first thing is set those mutual goals. Create some insights, have a point of view about their business, present it to them, and make the recommendation of what the goals are. The second one is plan and ideate. Create your own internal plan. Don't just plan with them, plan what you're going to plan for them. So create an internal plan, work with the client to generate how you're gonna meet the goals, and construct a roadmap that's long, really long, like as long as possible, and keep putting things in there. Because it's always going to exist and it's always going to change. It does not need to stay as it is. And the last thing is review and repeat. Do the same thing over and over. Just find the right time period to do it. So you're not investing too much of your time if it's not worth it. But if it's worth it, the dollars will keep coming in. That's me. There was a lot of words on that presentation. If you'd like a copy, just add me on LinkedIn. I'll send it over to you, and some of those templates if you'd like them. Thank you, everybody.